passer. What a pass to Hull! Turns and scores.
When we talk about mental bravery, what do you think that looks like? Dressing room versus kind of real life outside, away from the club?
I think dressing room, I'd say when people can use their setbacks in a real positive way. In our rugby of life, it's injuries, using that for a positive in regards to being able to see what that can bring in the future and put a real kind of positive swing on that and focusing what you can do to get better and how that can affect your rugby career in the future. I think in real life, it's being able to talk openly about your feelings. It's very brave to speak to someone about how you truly feel. And I think that stigma is now going away from men's mental health and mental health across the world about hiding it. I think it's really brave to speak how you truly feel to people, and let them be able to help you alongside you being able to help yourself and speak openly about it.
You've been a pro for a long time now. How have you seen it or felt that exchange over the course of your career so far?
I think when I was younger, didn't really get to see many people speak about those setbacks. They would hide it and would kind of just go on their way. And I think now personally is being a bit of a senior player, and you get to see people speak about how they do feel about setbacks, and you can help them see that positive light, especially younger players in the rugby world. And in our job, rugby is everything. So if you get an injury, which means you can't play on a weekend, you do really feel that. And I think being open about how that makes you feel is really kind of inspiring and brave, because it's truthful and honest, and it means players around you can help your mental state and kind of bring you into that positive light. What's the bravest thing you've done for your own mental health, even if someone else hasn't seen it?
I think for me, there's been a few times, kind of, not just in my career, everyone kind of has these moments, the peaks and troughs of rugby that you speak of, and professional sport, I guess, to an extent. It's recognizing when I'm kind of in one of those troughs, and then being active about trying to find the right kind of way about going to deal with that. So that can look like just maybe putting a bit more into life outside of rugby. If it's going through an injury, then kind of what can I do outside of the sport to take my mind off things? If it's selection, it might be just trying to realize that kind of rugby is something we do, not necessarily who we are. It's hard to sometimes like disassociate between the version of yourself without rugby and the version with. Some of that I find really useful was the one that my past clubs, speaking to a professional about it. You know, they're very good. They're very neutral, and they just really kind of give you a platform to talk about things that you're going through, and good about giving ways for you to deal with them, and recognizing kind of when you're going through something, and giving you the tools to deal with it in the best way. I kind of found that like when I've been going through them, there's just like a bit of a numbness. Like I couldn't get like happy, I couldn't get sad. It was just like you're just drifting through days. So I found speaking to a professional really helpful, and that's something that I kind of haven't really. I'm not very open about doing so, but you know, it's an important topic, and I think that if we have access to it, it can be really useful.
And on that, if people aren't able to access professional help, I know you've got your fiance and you're able to have your dogs out on dog walks and go to the beach and things. Would you say for people to try and lean on people close to them, or people they're comfortable with first, and then hopefully that can then lead them to speak more openly with professionals who can help if they want to go further?
Yeah, 100%. Like the people that you have around you are the most important in your life, and it's sometimes harder to actually speak to them because you feel like you might be burdening them with things that you're going through, but you just got to kind of realize that they're only wanting the best for you, and that can be hard to kind of get in your head. And it's not a burden to them. They want you to open up, and I'd be very lucky to kind of have that very close support network. But yeah, I'd encourage people if they don't have a professional that they can open up to, then just find. It could be a teammate if you don't want to go home with it and take that home to a partner. It could be a teammate. It could be a member of staff. You know, just start the conversation. I think is the most important thing, and let someone know how you feel, because so much can come off the back of that. Brett, would you be able to share with us a moment that someone's act of bravery or ability to kind of share something about themselves influenced you, changed your mindset, or maybe how you approach your mental health now?
Yeah, I think actually I think we all kind of say, hi, how are you? As a blanket statement as start of the day. And someone actually called me up on it and said, I'm not okay. And I think that to me was a shock. I think it's very commonly used as a term of phrase to kind of start conversation, but you don't expect the truth. I think for me, it was a shock to start, but it's because I wasn't willing to actually, at the start of that conversation, expect the truth or the answer that he gave. And from there, we were able to have a proper discussion about how he truly felt. And I thought that was really brave of him to be honest and be open. And I think he needed that in that moment. And so for me, it was from then on, when I do talk to people, no matter what time of day it is, time frame, or how much we know each other, is take that moment to really be present in the conversation and truly care about what you are asking, but what answer is coming back to you. I think that was truly brave for them to be able to open that statement and talk to me about how they truly felt, because I think a lot of us are used to just saying, yeah, I'm okay, how are you? And naturally, if you're willing to be there, be present with them and talk to them about how they feel, I think it completely changes the scope of that conversation. Cam, as a rugby player, you obviously train your body every day. And is there anything you do to train your mind to make sure you stay on track mentally?
I probably wouldn't say that I actively do anything. I think it's having your interests outside of the sport, which I spoke about earlier, are really important, especially for helping you deal with the things that you're going through in the sport. A massive thing that I think has helped me is actually kind of going through adversity, whether that be selection, contract and talks, injuries, things like that. I think every time you go through something and you can learn from it, and not just from a physical perspective, from a mental perspective, it gives you another tool to be able to overcome challenges and obstacles that you come up against in the future. There's obviously the physical things that you can do to help your mental health. Some people would go plunges in the morning, saunas, things like that. But for me, it's like I spoke about, my support network is massive for me now, and I've learned how to use them better as my career has gone on. So that's the biggest thing for me that I find helps my mental health through the sport.